Okay, so let's get into this real quick. A lot of people are wondering essentially who are the most targeted individuals when it comes to CDR reviews. CDR reviews are continuing disability reviews, which are basically where they look to see to remove your benefits. And it doesn't just have to be disability, but the main focus point is, of course, Social Security disability benefits. Now, let's get into this real quick. When we talk about the removal, we talk about going through the process to see if there's some sort of issue, potential fraud, potentially not severe anymore, because obviously when you have an impairment, it can ride a wave, right, of being severe and then moderate and then severe and things like that. There was an emergency message release. I'm going to give you the identification number right now, and that's what this video is about. This video answers specifically which groups they were targeting in 2024 and which groups they will continue to target in 2025. The emergency identification number for this particular warning is EM-24021 revision 2 right here. Okay. Bottom line is this emergency message gives direction to lower, managers / individuals as part of the CDR departments as to how they are going to begin picking up more claims to essentially go ahead and increase the amount of people they're putting through a CDR. Let's go through this real quick. The title of it is 2024 Full Medical CDR Workload, One-Time Only Instruction. This is from their DCO ODD department, kind of like your policy groups. Let's get right to it. The purpose of this emergency message. Okay, this emergency message provides disability determination services and field offices with updated continuing disability review guidance for resuming processing at the beginning of a fiscal year 2025, or beginning of fiscal year 2025. Background. In June of 2024, okay, so remember, the middle of this year, and remember, they were massively overloaded with the backlog from COVID, like tons of claims that they had to process, they couldn't get to, they didn't have enough people. So in June of 2024, our full medical CDR target was lowered, right? How many they had to actually complete in a particular year was lowered from 575,000 to 375,000. All right. So you saw basically a decrease of around 200,000 cases that they were shooting for to actually complete when it comes to CDRs, which allowed the agency resources to focus on processing initial disability claims and reconsideration cases, because they took a bunch of people, right, off of CDRs, which is why a lot of you guys didn't get them. A lot of you guys got to keep your benefits or not go through a review. And so what happens is they said, okay, we're going to take all these people that were doing CDRs, we're going to put them on basically initial filings of recons to try and get rid of some of that backlog. Okay, now here's the deal. During the pause of CDR processing, components were given specific instructions to process only accepted CDR cases. Okay, now in this case, it gives examples. Okay, so these are the accepted. These are the ones, and once again, I'm going to say this again. Components were given specific instructions, right? So the groups that were doing this were given specific instructions to process only, once again, to process only accepted CDR cases. What's an example of accepted CDR cases? Well, these are the individuals where they had to continue to review them, even though they were reducing the number of CDRs that they wanted to do. So they were specifying specifically which CDR cases they wanted to go after. Number one, low birth weight. Why? Because if you're born and your weight increases, then you would go ahead and get off of disability benefits, and they remove that child's disability benefits, low birth weight. Expedited reinstatements, EXRs. That's basically where they're reinstating your benefits if you haven't, if you went and worked and then you couldn't continue to work and you realize, I can't do it, then they can go ahead and expedite the reinstatement. I had a person who called me yesterday. I don't know if I was hungry or too quick with them. I wasn't snippy. I was just telling them the information. But they got all flustered and said, "You're giving me anxiety," and they hung up on me when I was telling them about reinstatements, because the feeling was that no matter what, in any situation, you could just go ahead and get a reinstatement instead of a new filing. And the reality is, when it's been a long time, a reinstatement and a new filing pretty much are the same amount of time. But there's a bunch of rules. We're going to do a video specifically on reinstatements because that person was just kind of mean to me out of nowhere. I was just like, what the hell? And maybe it wasn't out of nowhere. Maybe I was just being quick. One of the big problems when you run a law firm and you're trying to get everything done is people call you and they give you way too much story mode. And then you have to cut in to say whoa. And then they're like, why are you cutting in on me? And people don't realize when the disabled call you, they're like, I have to tell you my story. I started as a princess, and then I became a king, and then I became a blah, blah, blah. and now I basically can't afford this. And they have this story, this arc, and the problem with it is that we don't need the full story. We just need to know what's the general theory of the claim, and then we can ask the questions that matter. But again, I'm going to do a full video on that one. All right, CDR appeals. Oh, okay. So why are expedited reinstatements important? Those are people who are seeking to go back onto benefits because they just couldn't work. They couldn't do it. And usually those individuals are good ones for them to review because, the SSA can say, well, okay, could this person do a little bit more work? Could they not? Were they doing a job that was too tough? Could they continue to work? All that kinds of stuff. CDR appeals. CDR appeals, they have to continue to do CDR appeals because if you appeal the CDR, it can't just sit there because you're sitting there without benefits. So they got to continue to do the CDR appeals. Okay. Fraud or similar fault. So we did a bunch of videos on fraud and similar fault. Bottom line is that if the SSA believes somebody is committing fraud or similar fault, they will go ahead and continue to target those individuals ahead and above of most other individuals. And the reason why is because if somebody's committing fraud, they want to remove their benefits because they don't want it showing up in the news that they're paying somebody who is abusing those benefits. Real quick, Princess 05, thank you, Diana. That's awesome for the $2 donation. Very, very cool. Good morning. How are you and the doggies? The doggies are doing well. They're super duper sleepy and tired. We were up super late working nonstop on just preparing things in the law firm and stuff like that. So we are a little bit tired today. All right, next one. OQR returns. OQR return. Let me get you the actual definition for this one. That way I can give you the actual setup on it. OQR returns, SSA. And then we'll do the next one while this is popping up. But the Office of Quality Review of the Social Security Administration may return a claim to the adjudication component for a number of reasons, including deficiencies. The OQR may return a claim with a deficiency such as a Group 1 or Group 2 deficiency if it could affect the disability determination or period of disability. Technical corrective actions, which are TCAs. The OQR may return a claim with a TCA if it doesn't adhere to certain technical requirements. TCAs are instances of noncompliance with SSA's procedural requirements. That's like if you don't call them back or do something you're supposed to do in a timely manner. Case returned to the field office. The OQR may return a case to the field office for additional development before taking corrective action. So if the field office has to do something with it or correct something, case returned to FO. Case returned for review of an earlier determination. The OQR may return a case to the disability determination services for review of an earlier determination. And basically, OQR uses SSA 1774, but basically OQR cases, which are, putting it very simple, they're the quality review group. That's the Office of Quality Review. That's the group that basically looks at claims for actual approval. So basically, OQR returns, it's where the quality control office basically sends it to some other division and says, you got to fix this before we can go ahead and approve or deny it. So they still go for those individuals. Blindness with return to work. So blind individuals who basically, essentially can go back to work. Now, remember, a lot of blind individuals, they give them more of a hand up, more of an option to go back to work because of the increase in money that they can earn without it hurting them. Because remember, there's technically 3 categories of like major disabilities, which is, of course, mental, physical, and blindness. So bottom line is, if it's a blind individual that wants to return to work or is unable to work, they're going to prioritize that case and work on those CDRs and kind of target those individuals. Erroneous allowance corrections. So this is a big thing with the SSA. We have been noticing a lot of AC review of ALJ, which is, the higher up judges of the SSA docket system, reviewing the lower ALJ, administrative law judge, decisions. And what it really comes down to, just to be very straightforward with this whole situation, is that sometimes the judges will make a mistake. They'll approve something. It's wrong. It's not correct. It's a problem. And as a result of that, they want to go ahead and prioritize basically the erroneous allowance corrections, where they say, well, we shouldn't have approved that. Taking it back. Nope. Auxiliary EXRs. It's more of your expedited ALS and uneffectuated cessations. Okay, so there are certain types of particular impairments which they're going to target specifically to go after for improvement. So like if you get a person who is, for example, having mental impairments and, they have all these Baker Acts, and then once they're found disabled, they don't have any more Baker Acts and they're not going to any medical treatment and they're not doing anything. That's going to be a targeted individual. And what's happening across the Social Security system is that you get individuals who will get the benefits and they're like, cool, done, thanks, bye. And then, the CDR comes back around and specifically targeting to go ahead and look at those. And they're like, well, where where's your medical evidence, bro? Like, why haven't you been going? Why aren't you treating? And they're like, well, I just haven't needed to, just haven't, wanted to, I just blah, 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 all that stuff. And when that happens, it's kind of a big deal. So like, like one of the ways that they catch, people claiming that their parent is still alive and they're not still alive, and they're still collecting their retirement check, is by looking to see if the parent is using their Medicare, right, to see if they're getting medical treatment. Same thing with disability claimants. If you're not consistently going and getting medical treatment, then it's just not, what I mean. And the culture of the SSA is really changing too, because the SSA is not looking for stabilized, repetitive, continuous disabled individuals. They're looking for individuals that still have that crisis medical treatment issue where they're not able to go ahead and function and do things. I'm seeing a lot of claimants who basically have had benefits, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, and they have no, crisis medical treatment where they have to go into the hospital and basically, get some sort of emergency treatment because their usual medicine, their usual, PCP, their usual specialist isn't able to go ahead and get them back on track. When you don't have that, when there's no crisis medical treatment, the SSA takes a very good look at it, because to them it says, okay, this person's stabilized. Have they stabilized to moderate as opposed to being severe? So that's what nips a lot of the disabled out there, is they get comfortable, and they get comfortable with their treatment, and they just say, well, they can't treat it, they can't do anything, they can't this, they can't that, do that, instead of saying, well, okay, I'll find another doctor and get a second opinion, or I'll find another this or that. They just get comfortable, and let's just be real clear, they get lazy. They get lazy with their treatment. And when that happens, shit hits the fan, because then the CDR happens, and basically they go, okay, well, blah, 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 so on and so forth. We're seeing older individuals too. A lot of people in their latter 50s are getting hit with these, and they're getting hit hard. All right. All other pending CDRs, to ensure good customer service and program stewardship, that's why they're doing this. All other pending CDRs, except for paper CDRs and electronic CDRs with associated paper folders, were transferred from DDS to a federal staging queue, S0D, to await the resumption of CDR processing in fiscal year 2025. So what they're saying is there was like 200,000 of them that they put aside. They just weren't going to do. They weren't going to work on, because they didn't have enough people to do it, and they needed those people to go ahead and work on initial filings and reconsideration claims to reduce the overall wait time. Here's part C, though. This is the important part. Resume processing all CDR workloads. Beginning October 18th, 2024, FOs will resume processing and transferring CDRs to DDS beginning October 18th, 2024. So basically, coming up, October 18th, it's October 4th today. This was released. Let's see what the actual date of it was. Hold on, let me see where I put it. Yeah, this was released on 9/27/24, so we're talking like a week ago. But October 18th, 2024, okay, they are going to add a chunk of these back to their list of people that they're going to be reviewing and going through and CDRing. So beginning October 18th, 2024, FOs will resume processing and transferring CDRs to DDS. Beginning fiscal year 2025, DDS will resume receipt, assignment, and processing of all CDR workloads. So if you were part of the lucky group that didn't get a CDR during like 2024, you're going to get it in 2025, okay? So they're going to come zipping for you. FO processing instructions. Effective October 18th, 2024, in accordance with the local agreement to ensure DDS is receiving enough CDRs to meet the fiscal year 2025 target, field offices will begin transferring medical CDRs to the DDS. Prior to the date, FOs must begin developing medical CDRs and building a pipeline of cases that will be transferred to the DDSs based on regional guidance. As FOs work to build this pipeline, keep in mind the following. Okay, here we go. On October 12th, 2024, systems. Okay, so here's what you need to know. So October 12th, this is when the transfer is happening. This is when the cases are being brought over, and they're going to start to review you guys at the same level that they were doing before. On October 12th, 2024, systems will transfer approximately 80,000 cases from the staging queue back to the field offices to be refreshed. These are mostly medical CDRs that were unassigned at the DDSs prior to the pause. These cases can be identified through Workload Action Center and Electronic Disability Collect System. So bottom line is, upcoming October 12th, they do the transfer of 80,000 CDRs where they're going to be reviewing, and some of you will be part of that. And then by fiscal year 2025, so 3 months from now, right? Well, 4 months. No, it's 3 months. Yeah, we're 10. So 3 months from now, All of them are going back in. So you're going to see going straight into 2025 over the first couple of months of 2025, a lot of you are going to be seeing those CDR notices where they're reviewing you. Will they be less aggressive in reviewing you than they normally are as a result of being, massively overloaded and trying to meet targets? I don't know. Maybe. Will they have updated their system and added new technological ways to catch stuff? Yeah, probably. They're using AI a lot more now. Okay. And let me explain why AI doesn't always work well for a claimant when it comes to Social Security benefits. A lot of these doctors that you go to, and many of the people who have been on disability benefits longer will be able to, make a full testament to this particular issue. Many of the doctors you go to will write bullshit in your medical record, right? It's not that they're trying to harm you. Most of them aren't. It's just they didn't change the copy and paste areas in your diagnostic report. So on one report, it'll say, you have really severe this, fibromyalgia, degenerative disc disease, asthma, depression, you've really severe this. And then on another report, it'll be like, no issues, no problems, no issues, no problems, right? And that's because they just don't change the copy paste area when it comes to actually doing these functions. So the reality with this thing, just to keep it very clear and simple, is that if you involve AI and AI goes through it, it will immediately pull out and basically break down essentially all the places where you are less than severe. And the problem with that is that these doctors are sloppy. So there's sometimes a lot of erroneous less than severe, which can be used against you because it's still a statement and opinion on behalf of a doctor. All right, let's keep reading. So October 12th, 2024, they're adding 80,000. 2025, they're adding the rest of them. So you guys are going to be seeing a lot of that. The EDCS, the CDRs will have a flag with the following language. Fiscal year 24 CDR transfer. This flag will be added by systems to all CDRs previously transferred to the staging queue and is for control purposes only and cannot be edited or removed. So basically, if you're part of that group that they're bringing over, you're going to get a special flag that's programmed directly into your profile. And that special flag can't be removed. It's notifying them that you were given a break and now they have to go ahead and dig in on you. Technicians will take the following actions on these CDRs prior to sending to the DDS. Call the beneficiary and use the attached template to update relevant medical information that's necessary for the DDS to process the claim. I'll give you a walkthrough as to what that actually has, because that's a little in-depth document with it. All right, since these cases were previously transferred to DDS, technicians will not be able to update the SSA 454 and EDCS with new information. Instead, the technicians will copy the template and paste it into an SSA 5002 using the uniforms functionality in EDCS. Provide all applicable responses with the SSA 5002 and send the document to the electronic folder. And then, of course, verify, get an 827, which is your HIPAA document. They do all that stuff. If your call, and this is going to be important because a lot of you guys don't pick up on the SSA calls. If your call is unsuccessful, so if the SSA rep is unsuccessful in calling you, make a second attempt at another time. If you're unable to reach the beneficiary on the second attempt, take the following steps. Add an SSA 5002 to the EF with the following language. SSA 454 refresh unsuccessful. Also include information about when you made your phone attempts. Check the SSA 827 is currently valid, within the 12-month process. And then basically, check the 827 is valid. Updated with blah, blah, blah. Add a message in the EDCS advising if updated information was obtained and the date of the report of contact, or if the FO was unable to reach the beneficiary recipient to refresh information. Field offices should follow normal business process for all other medical CDRs. However, technicians should not restart follow-up and FTC procedures on cases where the forms are still valid but development was delayed due to the pause in the workload. FOs, field offices, can send any mixture of new CDRs and refresh CDRs as they become available. So you're just going to see a wave, a giant, massive 80,000 at first, and then 200,000 of whatever's left wave of CDRs being launched. So remember, if you're watching these videos, if you're watching other Social Security videos, disability videos, you're probably one of those that's going to be going through this giant wave of CDRs that have to be completed. All right, DDS processing instructions. We're going to go through this on another time because the bottom line is I don't want this video to be too long. Sometimes it's too long for a lot of the people with their attention span. So we're going to be going through that at another time. But bottom line is this. I'll go through the actual documents they intend to use to review you. Expect to get one of these in the mail. And kind of the big thing here is just remember the SSA has a job and they're not good at it. And Congress got on them in 2024 about being shitty at it, and how all these people owe overpayments, and there's some underpayments, but it's mostly overpayments. And they're doing these CDR reviews, and why aren't they more efficient? Why are they more, capable of just being handled in a much larger, quicker fashion? So the reality is Congress is stepping on the necks of the Social Security Administration personnel to make sure that if they can take away your benefits, they will. And so the next video we're going to actually be going into is, very simply put, about a conspiracy that is now, I think it's more than has legs. It's probably accurate. We're going to be going through this conspiracy and figuring out essentially whether or not it makes sense that what people are saying is true. The conspiracy is very sad, but considering if you look at things like, if you look at the hurricane situation and what they're doing with the Carolinas and what they're doing with Georgia, other states as well. If you look at what happened there and how entire places have been wiped out and the pitiful response that's actually occurring right now, and I always remember, if it were like a Republican in place right now as president, the news stations would have been all over that person nonstop, because they're mostly owned by billionaires that manipulate the left side. And so the problem with that is that we're seeing right now the United States showing extreme preference to Ukraine, extreme preference to, basically Israel, but not extreme preference to its people, the American people, the people who pay for them to even have money to give to Ukraine. So as a result of that, this next video is about the conspiracy theory that is very likely true and very likely sad. So I will catch you at the next video. We're going to do it in about, I would say, 10 minutes. Attorney Walter Hnot, Disability Resolution, the most viewed and subscribed to Disability Attorney. Please remember to like. Please remember to subscribe. If you want to become a member, that's cool too. Show support to the channel. Also, what I love waking up to are reading the 5-star reviews. If you go to Google, you type in Disability Resolution Law Firm or Disability Resolution Florida. Basically, you just leave a review there, and I always love seeing those when I wake up. So that's kind of like a push, gets me going. I will catch you guys at the next video. Remember, we will be going and doing a short live today where basically I answer questions because I didn't do it last night. I had too much work and I couldn't get it done. So I will catch you guys at the next video in about 10 minutes. We'll get rolling. And I will see you there. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And remember, Mondays and Thursdays, I usually go live to answer questions. And then, of course, if you need a full hour, which most of you do, but if you need a full hour to basically hire me for like a private hour, little mini contract is below. I'll catch up with you shortly, and we'll go from there. And we'll see you at the next video. And I'll put in the chat section what the link is. Thanks so much. All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.